Today we'll be giving a gameplay overview and review of the game Quadropolis, created by Francois Gandon and published by Days of Wonder. Hello everyone, and welcome to another episode with To Die For Games. I'm Mandy, the board gaming pinup girl. My fellow hosts are
Tracy, the gaming maven.
And I'm Steph, the games teacher.
So are you looking for a particular part of the video that you really want to see? Maybe the gameplay, maybe the review. Well, we've attached timestamps below so that you can check out which segment you love the most.
Was there something in particular you're itching to tell us? We'd love to hear what you thought or what you want to see next, so please feel free to leave a comment below. If you don't want to miss out on our next episode, click on the subscribe button and you'll be one of the first to know when our newest content is released.
The game plays in about 30 to 60 minutes, is suggested for ages 8 and up, and accommodates 2 to 4 players. We've got Quadropolis all set up and ready to go, so let's get to it. Objective. Players will build their own metropolis and score points based on the placement of various buildings in their city and what they are connected to. The player with the most points at the end of the game wins. So, Stephane, tell us, what's inside the box?
What's in the box? Components. A main construction site board, double-sided player boards, building tiles with specific ones for each round, 20 double-sided architects, 4 for each player, and 4 more for the expert variant. The mayor's starting player pawn, the urbanist pawn, blue meeples, which represent inhabitants, red cylinders, which represent energy units, the scoring pad, player aids, a cloth bag, and the rulebook. All right, now they know what we're playing with, how do we set up? Tracy?
Setup. The classic setup. Place the construction site board in the middle of the table within reach of all players. Place the urbanist as well as the blue meeples and red cylinders nearby. Each player takes 4 architects and a matching color board with the colored or classic side up, as well as a player aid. Place all the standard round 1 tiles in the bag and add the classic tiles. Take out any marked buildings if playing with less than 4 players. Draw the tiles from the bag, placing them randomly on the main board. The starting player takes the green mayor token. Now that we're all set up for the classic version, how do we play? Mandy?
Gameplay. Quadropolis plays over 4 rounds, with each player taking 4 turns per round, indicated by placing their 4 architects. There are 4 phases in a player's turn. 1. Players will play a single architect beside a column or a row on one of the edges of the main board. The number of the architect they will use will determine which tile they will take, counting in that many from the side of the main board that they placed on. 2. That player then moves the urbanist pawn to the spot where the tile was taken. The urbanist forbids the next player from playing on the edge of the row in the column that connects to its spot. 3. That player places the building tile on their player board using the number on the architect the tile was taken with and placing the building tile on the row, column, or tower height matching this number. 4. The player will take resources shown on the top left of the placed building tile. Note, at any time during the game, players can place their resources, inhabitants, or energy units to activate their buildings. Any buildings not activated at the end of the game are taken off of each player's board and will not score. Shucks.
Game end. Before scoring, remove any buildings that were not activated. The game ends after 4 rounds of play, or 5 in the expert variant, and players will score points based on the placement of buildings in their city. Towers score for the number of floors. Parks score for each tower block orthogonally adjacent. shop score for the number of inhabitants, factory score for number of orthogonally adjacent shops and harbors, and harbor score for single row and single column of these tiles. Public service buildings score for each of the 4 quadrants that have one. Players will lose 1 point for each unused inhabitant or energy unit in their supply.
Expert variant. For a more challenging game, players can use the expert variant. For setup, players will use the district side of their player boards, which allows players to play a building in a district in addition to a row, column, or tower height. And will use the expert tiles versus the classic tiles. The game plays over 5 rounds, and the players will play from a common pool of architects, 4 of each number, 1 through 5. The scoring changes slightly for the original building types. However, the monuments that are added in this variant make the biggest addition to the scoring. Players will either lose, score nothing, or score various points depending upon which one is played adjacent to the monuments. So that is how you play Quadropolis.
So now we are ready to give our review of Quadropolis. So guys, what'd you think? Your stomach thinks.
To me.
Yes.
Do we cut that or keep it? Let's keep it. I really like this game, my stomach notwithstanding. It did not cause me any indigestion whatsoever.
I also like this game. Days of Wonder usually produce really good games. Everyone knows about Ticket to Ride. That's one of their most well-known games, and it's really very bright and colorful. I'm attracted to bright, pretty colors. So.
I also enjoyed this game. It seems to be quite popular, so I've been seeing it everywhere. I'm like, I need to check this out. Color-wise, love it. So I really enjoyed the game and the art, which moves us on to artwork and theme. So what did you guys think?
I like the theme because it's, it's construction-based. I grew up in a construction site, so that very much appeals to me, the whole building aspect of it. And it does seem to be fairly consistent throughout with the picking the tiles, placing them near particular buildings. Obviously, you don't want factories near certain things and you want parks near other things, so they really kept that flavor with it.
Growing up, I played a lot of SimCity on computer games, and this game really brings kind of a bit of that feel back to me for the city construction. So really like it.
It was, I agree, it's quite good. Quality balloons, I'm going to talk about that as well with the artwork. Those little meeples, the little blue ones, or they look like glass. I don't know what they're actually. It's probably like a plastic or something. Yeah. That's okay. We'll just pretend. The blue, and then the little energy cubes or markers. Oh, those are fun. It's something different than the wood. So I like that, and the colors were really big for me. And I even like the quality, the actual, almost like the texture of the. Oh my gosh, I'm having a brain fart here. The tiles, so it was nice and thick, so they weren't bendy. We did find, though, that some of them were splitting a little bit.
It's something I've noticed in general with a few Days of Wonder games. Cargo Noir is another one which we have. It does the same thing. They're super, super thick, but I think with that, it has the tendency that if possibly any moisture gets in them, they might start to peel. And it was starting to look a little like that, but it hasn't happened. It looks like it's going to, and I'm always kind of a little worried.
Yeah, better to be safe.
Yeah.
I really like the plastic pieces for the meeples and the energy tokens. I like it was a nice change of, like you said, a change of pace from the usual wooden tokens.
Yeah, caught our eye. So let's talk about game mechanics. What did we think about that? Any thoughts?
I think it's fairly unique in its game mechanics. I like that there is some player interaction because you're all playing on the central board and you're forcing people out of certain spots.
Yes.
And the urbanist especially will, really mess with people. So you can have to watch what other people are looking for. Yeah. So I really like that component because it does add a lot of interactivity.
So that's kind of hard for people who they plan ahead and it's like, darn it, someone took that spot. So now you got to plan on the spot. So I don't know how well this is going to work for someone who needs a long time to think.
A bit of control freak.
Yeah. It happens, I get it. I don't know, I'm a planner, so I like to plan ahead and I'm like, oh my gosh, but then I can usually recover, but some people are not like that. So I don't know, people who take a long time, you may find that a bit difficult, but the game itself is not difficult, which I thought it was going to be from the way that it was described. And then when I saw it, I'm like, oh, it's pretty straightforward, but then that brings us into the, there's an advanced or an expert variant, so
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. The expert variant is interesting in that it really adds just that extra strategy.
Right.
So I already thought it was a fairly simple but strategic game,
Yep.
and the expert variant just adds so many more components that I don't recommend playing it first off. Play the classic and then a couple times, then go to the expert
Exactly.
variant.
I like the different scoring mechanisms again, lots of ways to make points. The game really worked for me.
Yeah. I found that I use the harbors a lot. So getting my lines, that gave me lots of points across and up and down, so it was really good. I also use the supermarkets. Pack those meeples in there and get those points. No. I don't know. I didn't find the, is it the parks? I didn't use those very much.
I use the parks with the factories. I use the towers a bit. I actually didn't use the harbors very much. And I found every time we played it, the scoring was fairly close. So it was very challenging to get way ahead of someone else. So it was always right near the end, you're figuring out who's going to win. So.
The first thing I did was go for the civics buildings, one in each quarter,
Right.
with the simple variant. And I took civics buildings that had additional victory point values on those civics buildings. So on top of the collection set for the civics buildings, I got additional points for those civics buildings that I chose. That combined with harbors allowed me to score and tie for first place in the first game that we played.
Yeah. See, and I did the harbors with the, I think it's the factories or the industry. I think if they're located near them, you also get points. So I tried to combine those two, and I scored fairly well. So, as you said before, there are multiple ways to win or to gain points. Any similar games to this that you can think of off the top of your head?
Not off the top of my head, that's the first part. It is actually fairly unique game in the sense of the playing the architects on, which is very interesting. There's a lot of games that have that playing something to get something, but not quite in this fashion. So.
No.
Some of the scoring mechanics for a city building game were similar to Between Two Cities.
Yeah.
However, Between Two Cities is a semi-cooperative game.
Right.
This is not.
Right.
Between Two Cities had different tile types that could score in different ways depending on placement within the city. So this game has some similarities in the scoring mechanics, but the general game mechanics and gameplay are significantly different. I can't think of anything else that's really like it.
No, I think of Alhambra, but I have the big box. I don't know if you guys have that one where it has some of the expansions, and I've played with some of the expansions where you can place tiles. But again, it's not cooperative at all. It's slightly different, but you have that some of the expansions you have where you can place a tile and then you get benefits, but we won't get too deep into it, but that would be something similar, but you're right, the mechanics on its own are completely different. So overall, I really enjoy this game. I can play with a variety of people. It doesn't get lengthy, so people are any type of person is comfortable to play it. So I give it 2 thumbs up. I really enjoyed it.
I really enjoy it too.
The only thing I could say about this is I wish it played more players. I enjoyed the game. I think 4 players is not so much a limiting factor because a lot of games limit you to 4 players. I would have liked to have seen this support 5 or 6 players out of the box, and that would have just made it that much better for me. But I really enjoyed the game.
Yeah, I find a lot of games are going like that now, the 2 to 4, and you're right, you almost wish for that extra 5th or 6th player. So overall, there you have it. We all really enjoyed this game. So thanks so much for joining our game overview and review of Quadropolis, and we'll see you next time.
Bye.